What's up, guys? Welcome to another live session. Today is January 8th, 2020, and we're back at again on the charts. And the last 12 hours has been chaotic, ridiculous. Iran struck back with full vengeance. I think they attacked 3 military bases in Iraq that supposedly had U.S. troops, but apparently there is no reported U.S. casualties. Well, at least that's what the American media is saying. Iran is saying they killed 80 U.S. soldiers, around 200 are injured. And right at 11 a.m. Eastern, so right now, Trump will address the media with what they're going to do next, whatever happened, etc., etc. I'm going to have his little Twitter open. I doubt he's going to tweet anything. I think it's going to be an actual press release on the TV, but whatever he says, it's probably going to be indicative of what the U.S. will do. I actually thought they're going to respond aggressively last night after the attacks, and then after the response, U.S. will debrief everyone about why they responded, etc. But apparently, the Iran general that stepped in said that it was a one and done attack. It was just done to kind of, I guess, fight back for that initial strike on the on Soleimani, but after that we don't want any other problems. It was just kind of a response. It's a one and done thing. We don't want to escalate to a war, but with Trump being a hothead, I did think they were gonna respond last night, but we'll see. They did not, and so I think since there's no U.S. casualties, or apparently that's what they're reporting, the U.S. may not just respond. They may just increase sanctions on Iraq and or just fight the proxies in other countries related to Iran. But we'll see. We'll know by the end of this session. I'm pretty sure there's it's probably live on CNBC or CNN. But this is all relevant to us as the Forex markets did have a reaction to this, obviously so, and EURUSD, although it did have a reaction, it had it ended up coming in our favor anyways. So it went as far as 30 pips into profit, 32 pips. So our first take profit was hit. Let me show you the initial reaction. And so this was actually the initial reaction. We went pretty high, maybe 20 pips into drawdown before we finally came back down to earth. And it was seeming like a World War III was imminent last night because it was a very aggressive attack. I think like 18 missiles hit or was shot up in the sky. So pretty crazy night. Glad no Americans got hurt. I think that's what they're reporting. But yeah, we went down to around 33 pips, and that's pretty good. It could have been a lot worse since we were on the brink of World War III, but not much to say. The analysis still stands as it is. We are coming to our first take profit, first area of confluence. 1.11 thousand, a nice psychological level. So we'll see what happens there. But by now you should already have profits taken and stops moving to entry like we always do. That's our risk mitigation and management strategy. So the 4-hour looks pretty good, looks very bearish, and the daily time frame, which is the time frame we use to take the trade, looks phenomenal. So we were going to target the trading range from here all the way down to here, and the reaction we got from this resistance is pretty nice. So I'm expecting further downside, but you never know what happens. We do have Trump speaking right now, and then NFP this Friday. So definitely a chaotic first week back, but it's kind of out of our hands. So awesome. Another setup that we analyzed last night, in yesterday morning, was pound dollar. And the reason why we didn't trade it is because the signs were pretty mixed in terms of price action, and you can see it hasn't really moved much over the past day or so. Really, we were here yesterday, and now we're here, so no real reaction. And this is one of the reasons why I didn't want to take the trade, even though the daily is screaming shorts. It's just not making sense to me right now because the price action is a bit misleading, just because of the initial attack on Soleimani and the response last night, the price action needs time to catch up to the fundamentals, and I don't think that's happened yet. And we've talked about this before, but this trend line from the monthly and on the weekly time frame, we're still above it. If pound dollar was able to close back below, due to the attack yesterday, then I'd be down to short back to these lows down here. But we're still floating above, so it is telling me that there's buyers keeping it afloat, and that's why we didn't take the trade. And thank God we didn't, because it wouldn't have really provided any benefit of taking it. Another setup we looked at yesterday was gold, and gold pretty much did what we expected to do, given that there's a response. Boom. And I told you guys, this is a swing setup that you can take this year if you really want to. Going to 1700 for per ounce, or even 1800. You can see a huge reaction. Let's actually go to the specific hourly candle, and we'll see. So this was the actual candle where the attacks happened, and gold jumped around 300 pips. Pretty crazy. Actually 400 pips. And obviously it was in the direction that we predicted to, just because gold acts as a safe haven during times of tension. And when you have the brink of world war happening, you're going to get gold strength and subsequent dollar weakness. And so we saw gold jump 400 pips. And I said yesterday that this overall swing trade has a potential for 4,000 pips to be made. So this was not a setup I called to enter, because obviously it'd be dangerous to enter during this time. But it's nice to see that price action was able to predict this move without even looking too deep into the U.S. and Iran war. But pretty solid. I think now it's going to kind of come back to earth, especially with Trump's comments. So you might see some volatility right now across the board, depending on if Trump wants to escalate the situation or de-escalate. But pretty nice, a pretty huge wick on the daily time frame to the upside. So definitely crazy. You can see the gaps that we've started to form. We had a gap here, and then this was the gap when we attacked Soleimani. So pretty intense first week back for the commodities, especially gold. And then we'll talk about oil. So oil also went in our favor. For gold and anything in relation to oil, I'd say wait this week out, see what Trump does, see if the situation de-escalates, and if U.S. and Iran, basically comes to the table and says, hey, we got some money, and Iran can say we attacked a few bases, we got some of your guys, and they call it truce, then we can start trading these commodities again. But a 400 pip move, if for some reason we went short, we saw it long, but for some reason we did go short, that 400 pip move would have done damage. Would have done some big damage to some accounts, especially because of the slippage. So that's why we didn't take that trade, but it's nice to see that it was going our way anyways. Now, looking at crude oil, what the hell is this? So crude oil also went our way, and so yesterday's session we gave pretty simple entry criteria. So we did talk about crude oil initially gapping above $63 per barrel, and then we drew this horizontal ray, which is previous resistance. We got a close below, we're going lower. We got that close below earlier in the London session, and we're up. We went as far as 100 pips. And again, this is not a setup I called. It was just analyzed just to kind of show what will happen. You can see just this daily resistance, 63 a barrel, and the entry criteria, that double confluence, was all we needed for that trade to go into profit. Definitely not a trade you wanted to enter during that whole chaos, because if you look, this was the reaction, 62, 300 pip move. So crude oil moved up 300 pips from that attack. So another reason why we did not enter, but all it's going to take is Trump's comments to kind of figure out what we're going to do with the commodities. We could just focus on Forex until this whole thing simmers down, but nice chunk of profits could be made here. And yeah, we're already up 200 pips, and we have a target of 1,000, so 1,000 left to go. So pretty nice. I wish we did catch these, but safety and just risk aversiveness is very key, especially during these times. This is, and trading NFP is one thing, but trading this sort of event and ordeal is another. And you just have to use your brain. It's not worth it. It's literally gambling with your account. And let's look at USD CHF, which was a pair that really didn't do much, and we wanted to trade yesterday. It's pretty much where it was during yesterday's session. We wanted to get a 2-for-1 kind of scenario with EURUSD short and USD CHF long, but it just can't muster up enough strength to go above this support 0.97 thousand. So I don't know what's holding it up. It's probably the mixed results from the U.S.-Iran tensions, but definitely a plausible 2-for-1 scenario to go back to these highs. And I think that's a good way to approach the start of the year, entering swing trades. Just because the volatility right now might not be best for intraday trading, so that's why a lot of our setups we're looking at is more of a swing kind of scenario. But yeah, just look for that closure above 0.97 thousand, bullish in nature. Ideally closing above this horizontal array we drew yesterday, 0.97400. We get that. We're probably going long. Probably going long to 0.9976 or just 1.0 flat. So pretty decent day. I mean, hey, first trade of the year. We already made profits, so that's good. But I really wish Trump would let us know what he's thinking. Let's actually search this, because I'd rather discuss this now than wait a full 24 hours to discuss in tomorrow's session. It might be important for us. So let's see. So our side base is getting hit. Where's the recent stuff here? I feel like he's talking. He is talking right now, but I don't think it's gonna. There has to be some sort of recap for this. He's not even at the podium. That's awkward. Oh, he was supposed to be speaking at 11 a.m. Eastern, so I don't know why he's not there, but he may be late. But yeah, Iran launched more than a dozen ballistic missiles against U.S. military and coalition forces in Iraq. The casualties a bit mixed. But if they did kill 80 troops and injure 200, then I'm pretty sure the U.S. will respond. Yeah, this is some of the missiles they showed up. I mean, it's pretty chaotic. Most of us probably didn't live during World War I or World War II, but to see this happen in our generation, in our time, is pretty ridiculous. They shot up, I think, 12 of these. I guess Trump is going to take his time getting up to the podium, but don't really see it. Apparently, Iran's president says Iran will cut off America's leg after the U.S. cut off Solomon's arm. So yeah, so it's not looking good, but I really wanted to see if we could get an update while we go live. But I guess I'll have to give that tomorrow or maybe on Telegram. But yeah, and if you guys have any pair recommendations for the day, let me know. Check on the chat real quick. Pretty quick situation. Hey guys, morning. Hope all of you are well. Whoa. Yeah, that's what I expect too, Daniel. But he's taking his time to get to the podium, so I think we're gonna have to wait for that. awesome. Yeah, it's a good choice to move it to break even, Jenny. Any pro recommendations? Let me know before I look at the cryptos. And then we'll see what Mr. Trump has to say. Okay, so yeah, Bitcoin is at 8,500. Like we kind of guessed yesterday, where it's gonna retrace to, and that's fine. We had this as a retrace zone, or maybe even these levels right here. As long as we don't take out this previous high, we're gonna probably go lower. Just to show you the pattern that Bitcoin likes to do is it likes to create a high, push down, do consolidation, do another push, consolidation, make a new high, and then push down even further, consolidate, go to make a high. But obviously, it's not as long as we don't close this previous high, the pattern still stands. You can kind of see, you can draw a trend line here actually. So boom, you can see this trend line right here. You can even extend it back to these highs, but this is what we're looking at. I guess these are just like relief impulse pushes, and so it aligns perfectly with these levels right here, where the max retrace will happen. If we do break out, then definitely maybe time to kind of change our bias maybe. But for 2020, I'm still bearish. We'll see. I think right now the U.S. Iran stuff is giving the cryptos some fuel, as everyone kind of steps away from the dollar and kind of invests into crypto. So we'll see. But all in all, what we discussed yesterday is still standing. Look for some sort of rejection from this area, and you can probably catch a nice intraday short back down to maybe 7,500, a nice 100 pip swing. So that looks good for crypto. I mean, not really too worried about Bitcoin unless we do break this trend line. Then we might have to start looking at long setups. And I'm not too fond of logging crypto, but XTZ USD, also called Tezos. Do your research; it's pretty awesome. And so, Tezos, nice. So Tezos, did we get faked out? Let's see. Oh no, we didn't. See, this is perfect. We did not get faked out. So awesome. So yesterday we gave two setups, right? A potential short, a potential long, and so our long criteria was pretty simple. And yeah, we got a bit of movement, so our first target was met. So yeah, we didn't get faked out, thank God. So our first target was hit. If trading view would load, perfect. So our entry criteria was basically a bullish closure above 1.33, and we did get that. So we got to push all the way up to our first target, 1.38. I did say if we break that, we're going to 1.50. But this level is a resistance, right? And that's why it's one of our targets. So we didn't get that break above to go even higher. We got a rejection, so we're going back down lower. So there's a short bias short term for Tezos, probably back down to 1.26. So it's kind of entered this trading range now, and so definitely the longs are done with the nice push that I believe the attacks yesterday kind of fueled. And so yeah, now it's looking like a short, but very simple entry criteria. Break above 133, and we got right to 1.38 before coming back down. We'll see what happens then. I mean, a lot can happen. Big boy is not at the podium yet, but weekly looks pretty interesting. Can't really tell what's going to happen on the weekly for Tezos. You can see right here. It could just be a pullback for next leg up. But if the intraday setup, which is a short back down to 125, plays out, then there could be, our possible short setup could come back into play. So I'm going to remove the long setup. This was our secondary short setup. If we got the break below 1.25, we didn't get that, so that was obviously not there. But Instead, we could just have this happen. And damn, if I had a broker that supported crypto, I would definitely take this setup right now. But yeah, not bad. 1.57, not bad for a cryptocurrency trade. So that is that. It is crazy. This is just crazy. I'm still in shock from yesterday's stuff. Morning, Kelvin. But yeah, so I think Trump's going to take his time. I really did want to discuss this with you guys. He was set to speak at 11 a.m., but I don't know what happened. So what will happen is whenever he does speak, I'll just share my thoughts and maybe even an article, maybe from Daily Effects or just CNN to kind of give you guys a breakdown of what's going to happen and what happened. And that can help your trading for the rest of the day going into the week, and then tomorrow we can discuss it together. But pretty happy that we didn't get burnt on EURUSD, because when the tax happened, we were in 20 pips drawdown, and part of me did want to close, but we held it through. We had a nice stop loss, and so we hit take profit 1, and we'll ride down for take profit 2. So this is gonna probably be the holy grail for the week, and hold it down until NFP. So we do have NFP Friday, guys. So make sure you don't overcommit to trades. It's already Wednesday today, so risk exposure, to keep it at minimal until we know what's gonna happen and what Mr. Trump says. So with that being said, guys, I will see you guys tomorrow, Thursday, for another live session at 11 a.m. Eastern, and we'll discuss the chaos then. So peace and happy trading. I mean that. Please be safe, and I'll see you tomorrow.